right? I'll be a fat cat. What do you got going on? Is that fly flying around the room? You want us to destroy it? Is that what you're thinking? Thinking destruction, murder, and mayhem? Yeehaw! Okay, hi everybody. Welcome to Houston with Problem, where, the problems are probleming. Title of the show, Habeas Corpus, hardly knew us. Stephen Miller, the current head of policy and hopefully not future national security advisor, wants to suspend habeas corpus in the United States. If you don't know what habeas corpus is, it is the law that requires the government to give you your day in court if you're ever arrested and held in detention, prison, jail. The government has to prove that you violated a law and to be found guilty in order to remand your body. And he wants to get rid of that. Why? Because he's a little white nationalist, Goebbels, Hitler wannabe. That's why. So, keep that in mind, folks, that the erosion of our freedoms are very real right now. And anyone who tries to tell you, oh, it's just for undocumented immigrants, Stephen Miller explicitly stated in September of 2023 that he wanted to turbocharge the Office of Denaturalization and strip people of their U.S. citizenship. So basically, they're going to declare you're not a citizen anymore, and then yoink, you all right off the street. And that's what they're shooting for. So, if you ever had concerns about other things happening in the world, have some concern about that. In other news, Trump basically is like, maybe 80% tariffs on China, and China's just ignoring him. So the Chinese do not care. Also, Trump appears to think that Mattel, the toy company, is a nation of some kind, that there's Mattel the nation. I'm not really sure what's going on in his brain on that one. There still have been no official trade deals actually signed and reached. His announcement yesterday of a trade deal with the UK is the framework upon which they're negotiating an actual trade deal, but not a trade deal in and of itself. So no trade deals have been made yet. The last ship to arrive in the United States from China that is tariff-free arrived yesterday, the 8th. I thought it was going to be the 10th, but apparently it was yesterday, the 8th, because so many ships diverted to Canada and Mexico to unload their goods. So any ship that arrives now in the United States from China will have the 145% tariff on it, on the goods inside. So things are about to get really scarce, and they're about to get really expensive as these 145% tariffs are put onto you, the consumer, and you're going to start paying a lot more for things. Lots of talk about folks at ports, truck drivers, day drivers, that not having any work, not having anything to do, that money's going to start getting tight for a lot of these folks. So keep that in mind. My guess is we'll probably start to see layoffs at retail, fast food restaurants where folks are not spending the money anymore. Because remember, fast food's gotten more expensive than cooking at home. It didn't used to be that way. So people aren't going to go spend $20 at Burger King or McDonald's for a meal when they can sit at home and eat ramen noodles for 39 cents a packet. We're facing some real squirrely stuff, and I do wonder, how far is this administration going to take it before they finally cave? Because they'll have to cave. There's no other way around it. And how far are the Republicans in Congress willing to see their support at home erode for not doing anything about this? 27%. That's greater than 1 in 4 Trump voters regret their vote. If you're just going to suspend elections and freedoms across the board, you don't care about stats like that. If you're up for re-election in 2026 and your record is not doing anything to stop this, then that 27% of Trump voters are not going to vote for you when it comes to your re-election. So, I guess their big hope is they're just going to suspend habeas corpus, they're going to suspend elections, and they're just going to declare themselves rulers by fiat, and there you go. It's Scott Bessent, the head of the Treasury Secretary, he has been talking about setting different payouts outside of the face value of U.S. Treasury bonds for foreign holders of that debt. That's effectively a default on U.S. debt. Like if you thought interest rates on the bonds, the yields were high now, and the price of the bonds very low, this would cause it to blow up. It would cause every foreigner holding that debt to dump it, and there wouldn't be enough buyers on Earth to take it up. So that debt is the foundation to every investment on Earth is U.S. Treasuries. Whether you're a bank, a pension fund, a hedge fund, an investment bank, a sovereign wealth fund, a family fund, an individual investor, you take those treasury bonds, that is collateral that you can borrow against at 100%. And you can then make whatever play you want using the margin given to you by those treasury bonds. If you vaporize the value of those treasury bonds and you annihilate the U.S. credit rating, then all of a sudden the foundational play for everything on Earth disappears. Again, I mean, I guess you upend the financial system if that's the case, but to what effect, right? If banks can no longer exist, then how are we going to facilitate any transactions in this economy? Oh, here's Bitcoin. Yeah, they can process 12 transactions a second. That's not going to work. I don't know what we do if we decide to do that. Donald Trump's MO has been take out a bunch of loans, right? You build your office towers, your gold-plated condos and stuff, and then you just don't pay. And then the banks come back like, oh, can you play something? And he goes, all right, I'll pay you this much, right? You can't do that. Like the collateral to the bonds is the United States government. And you can't give away the government. Sure, you can try, but that's not going to take care of the bonds. It's the good faith and credit of the United States is the only thing holding those bonds up. And if you erode that with a president who deficit spends like none other, then you're not going to be able to actually do anything. It's going to result in you have to print money, which is going to cause massive runaway inflation, and massive runaway inflation devalues the US dollar incredibly. And if you devalue the US dollar incredibly, then no one has purchasing power to do anything anymore. You are in Weimar Republic land. You're in Zimbabwe circa 2000. You know, you're gonna be printing $50,000 notes, then $50 million notes, $50 billion notes, and it's just gonna go crazy from there. So I don't know what we're going to do, because it seems like all they have are really terrible ideas put forth by usually some weird white nationalist dude who actually doesn't understand whatever it is that he's pretending like he understands. I think what you need in government is you need type A personalities who have some level of imposter syndrome. They could be the greatest experts in their fields in the entire world, but in their minds, they're like, I need to know more. The opposite is we've got a government of Dunning-Kruger. We have a bunch of ignoramuses who think they know everything and are the greatest experts in the entire world when in fact they have no expertise on anything. Except for maybe cruelty. They know how to capitalize on cruelty, so they got that going for them. I mean, we're nominating a Surgeon General for the United States who doesn't even have a medical license. They dropped out of their residency to become a wellness expert who espouses a whole bunch of pseudoscientific hoo-ha. Doesn't have any scientific papers, doesn't have any research backgrounds, doesn't even have a practice that they've done as a medical doctor. The current head of the NHS in the UK is the author of 13,000 research documents. Or is an author, I shouldn't say the author, an author on 13,000 research documents. Why are we putting people with zero expertise in charge of highly technical positions? We don't want somebody who doesn't understand nuclear power in charge of the atomic energy. We don't want people who don't understand how healthcare works in charge of healthcare. We don't want people who don't know how banks work in charge of banks. But that's what we're doing. And I think the end result is chaos. And that's probably what they want. They want total and utter chaos. We have chaos going on in individual cities. There's a video out today of a neighborhood basically fighting ICE and demanding to see a bench warrant before they arrest one of their neighbors. And rather than the local police stepping in and being like, yeah, dude, where's your bench warrant? The local police stepped in and acted as little proxies for these Gestapo assholes at ICE and arrested the neighbors for obstruction. Should be the other way around. If you are a governor or you are a mayor, a county commissioner, executive, whatever, you need to order your local law enforcement to arrest these ICE agents whenever they try to arrest somebody themselves without a proper bench warrant. These administrative warrants do not fly in a court of law. So you need to protect your citizenry from these Gestapo little assholes and arrest them on site, charge them with kidnapping. You take those pawns off the board. Cool. That you have to push back against the administration. The minute the administration gets pushed back, they go, we'll stop doing that every time. So push back, arrest them, charge them, subpoena friggin' Stephen Miller, make him testify in court for why he's ordering these arrests to happen. Right? Those are things that need to happen. We as a nation need to wake up to this because their goal is to destroy us. And it's happening in real time. The people who voted for Trump, you're seeing now, oh, my business is vaporized. It doesn't exist anymore because I can't afford the tariffs. I lost my job. I don't understand. He came after me, but I support him. He doesn't care about you. He's going to obliterate your business. He's going to obliterate your family. He's going to obliterate your neighborhood, all to make himself some extra ka-ching. He does not care. And so what we need is the people, not just the people. We need the elected officials who are executives in their local municipalities, counties, states, etc., to stand up and be like, no, that's not happening. Because unless they do it, then who else will? The courts can make all the rulings they want, but if they don't have any way of enforcing it, well, right? So it's going to come down to these individual states and these individual municipal governments, individual counties. And, once someone stands up for this, I think others will rally around them. They're looking for that catalyst, looking for that person with authority to go, no, it's not going to fly. Anywho, GameStop had a little puny pop today. So if you were one of those ballsy little degenerate gamblers who bought a whole bunch of $27 calls at 17 cents yesterday right before close, they hit 77 cents today. So good job. Way to go. I mean, you 4x your money in 24 hours right there. Not too shabby. So good for you. Anything else happening, Monkey? That I'm sure to talk about in the chat here. So let's click on the clickety clack. Where'd you go, clickety clack? There you are. Boom. Okay, turn it off. Off. There we go, Dead Bass. 2 firsts in 1 week. What is happening? That'd be a second first, if it will. Dead Bass, thanks for keeping us all up to date on BBY and others. You're most welcome. Chris Taylor, gotta be quick around here. Happy Friday. And number 2, Kidkidian, 5th. 3rd. Jack Burton, hey friends, Kidkidian, or is it 3rd? It was 3rd. I can't think I might have a problem. You got a definitely counting problem. So I must be in the right place. Fabrizio's moo plopping. Aaron Salentine, Ham Short Killer says, with the 236 million shares naked shorted, the options chain market makers forced to buy in, and 2 million of the real short on Finger and FOMO, we can hit $1,000 a share. Bring it. Tony Houston, I want to die peacefully in my sleep like my grandfather, not screaming in terror like people in the car with him. That is a classic. That's a classic. Iron Sounding. Easy, once it's gone, bigger than the baby GME squeeze. One of these suckers needs to do a puny pop to historic levels already. It's been 4 years, over 4 years. Let's explode this thing. Kelly Reed, happy birthday, HW. Toronto unemployment hits 9.6% in April, up from 8.7%. Just wait, folks. Rental company is about to give you 1 month free rent and 50 years free Wi-Fi. Yeah, and it's probably going to get worse as Canada has to realign where they're sending stuff and what the supply chain. The supply chain is. Ontario is a big part supplier for the big three automakers, and I don't know what they're going to do with the way these tariffs are. Trump seems to be targeting specifically Canadian things, like his 100% tariff on movie production. Television and film out of Canada is a giant industry. It is bigger than it is in the United States because they do things like tax credits for, the production of these TV shows and movies. Canada has an amazing federal program to support the arts that other nations do not have. If you have a production going on in Canada, it has to be, half women involved, proportional amounts of minorities involved, even not just in front of the camera, but behind the camera as well. So you have, women directors, women cinematographers, people from, minority backgrounds doing the same roles. And if you're going to show things on networks or on radio, right, you're going to have at least 30% Canadian produced stuff. So a lot of musicians come out of Canada because the Canadian government requires these radio stations to play 30% Canadian artists. And if they take off in Canada, that's a great proving ground to see if they can take off elsewhere. And so they become big stars here in the United States. Same thing with television movie stars. They get their start on Canadian television because they require 30% of all the shows that are shown on Canadian television to be made in Canada with Canadians as stars. And then they go from there. It takes off from there. It becomes a national phenomenon. The United States could do similar things like that. We could give big tax credits. We could fund the arts. We could require, production. Like, you don't need to put 100% tariff on things. You just say, okay, 30% of all the shows on TV must be produced in the United States of America. It's that simple. And if they don't do it, then they can lose broadcast licenses, etc. So I don't understand why he goes for the punitive approach rather than ever dangling a friggin' carrot in front of the horse. He never once dangles a carrot. He's always going for punishment, and it's always very much like, it'd be a real shame if someone were to destroy this business of yours, wouldn't it? And that's kind of what he goes for. He's a mobster. So not everyone responds well to that. Some people respond better to like, hey, good job there, way to go, buddy. Some positive reinforcement. But my guess is that man's never had positive reinforcement in his entire life. Seems like his parents were complete dicks, and sociopaths, and then he is a complete dick and a sociopath. So he does not understand doing good things for people just because. It doesn't make any sense to him. Anyway, I feel it for you, Toronto. Red Lightsaber, I want to say, after having TikTok for less than a day to subscribe to you, TikTok should be banned. Redoing my algorithm is torture. I've not made any videos yet, but I do have 22 followers so far. So, got that going for us, right? Let's see here. I got to click on that. Click there. Copy. And throw that back in the chat. I still have not gotten my permission to go live on TikTok yet. You're welcome to swing by. You're welcome to subscribe. I have not had permission to go live yet on TikTok, nor have I made any videos yet. I should probably make like a 90-second video a day on there just to get off the ground. I have not gotten around to that. Maybe this weekend. It's not problem. I spend so much time just like reading, and then like, oh yeah, I gotta do my show, and that's how it usually goes. So being able to go live on TikTok, that would do wonders. Eric, do you think GME finally announced that they bought Bitcoin? If yes, when could it happen? I hope that if they bought Bitcoin, it was during that big old dip that happened a month ago. because it rocketed over $100,000 a coin this week, yesterday. I don't know. Knowing our luck, they probably bought at 100,000. It dipped to 70, and then it rose back up to 100,000. So we're sitting right where we were before. But I don't know when they could announce it. I would have thought they would have announced it by now for sure. But I mean, it'd be maybe this weekend would be a great time to announce that they bought a bunch to give a big old push on the share price. Autostrada, is fourth still claimable? No. Milmick will hold first. You are not close. Brendan Wells, sup PPY, sup No Labs. I got no news really on either. Although it does seem like there's a whole bunch more gift card claims coming in for Bed Bath & Beyond, even though the cutoff for that, twice has been a cutoff for that. We've blown past both of those. I think the most recent cutoff was back in March. So I don't know. I don't know why the court's letting those things go through. Snort alert. Oh, Houston. Oh, snort alert. Where is... Oh, sorry. I just reset here. J-Dog. Go Mariners. Blue Jays in town for the weekend. I'm sure this is going to be a much calmer Blue Jays weekend in Seattle than we've ever seen, because Canadians are not coming to America now. Normally, when the Blue Jays come to Seattle, half of Canada streams across the border, spends the entire weekend here, walking around in Blue Jay uniforms, talking Canadian talk, and I bet it's slim pickings right now. I bet there's seats available at the stadium, despite the Mariners being in first place, because the Canadians are like, no, I'm not going, and I don't blame them. You don't want to deal with the problems that are going across the border. Heck, it appears as though Border Patrol is setting up checkpoints as you leave the country. So you go to the Peace Arch up in Blaine, up on the border, the main border crossing here between U.S. and Canada and Washington State, and there are border security people checking documentation of people trying to leave the country. So you got a date, a vacation, a business meeting, visit family, whatever. They're like, why are you leaving the country? Are you trying to keep us in? Like, what is this, like, Berlin Wall crap you guys are pulling? It's not a good sign when your government is impeding the ability for folks to travel out of the country. That is a very, 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 very terrible, very authoritarian sign, and that should also worry people very much. But yeah, go Mariners. Can I read? So Trump has a big trade deal announcement yesterday. I thought it was going to be with the Penguins, who caved. But man, UK, did Boris negotiate for you? The UK had a pretty good negotiation. Basically, they got to send their cars to America, free of tariffs, and to deal with steel, free of tariffs. And in return, the United States did nothing. Or got nothing in return. So, it's and it's not even an actual trade deal. It's just the framework for a trade deal. It's like the basis for which they're negotiating for. Chris Taylor, the Belgian Whale. Sorry to hear about your... Oh, whoops. Sorry, Belgian Whale. I had to let my goodest girl go last week, just a couple of weeks shy of 12 years. I have a crater of emptiness in my heart. Hate being home. Everything reminded me of my little best friend. Oh man, this is, look at the little monkey butt on the floor here. And I know that day is coming. We're doing the vet visits, trying to stave that off as long as possible, because she's still happy. I mean, other than the fact she's missing a leg, she doesn't really seem to have any symptoms of having cancer in the rest of her body. She's back to a healthy body weight. She's as energetic and happy as ever. But then again, animals are really good at like putting that off, like not acknowledging that pain for a long time. But she seems to be a happy little clam on the floor right now. And fat guy, you've lost 2 whole pounds. So, but I'm so sorry there, Belgian Whale. It is brutal. And you feel it, man. I've talked about this before. When I lost Foofer, my little dog I grew up with, for 13 years. 13 years. Every single solitary night I had a dream and he was in it. Every night. Without fail. From the moment he passed away till the day I got that dog. The day I got Monkey Butt was the first night I did not have a Foofer dream in 13 years. That was, like, talk about obvious psychological diagnoses there. No, you feel it. They're your best little buddies. Their job every single day is to be stoked that they get to spend it with you, and that's just the basis of their existence, and they're so good at it. They're so good at it. They just bond right to you, and they're like, dude, we're a crew, let's do this. And they're so stoked no matter what you do. You get off the couch, like, oh, fuck, I love getting off the couch. Oh, we're going to sit on the couch? Oh, I love sitting on the couch. We're going for a car ride? Best thing ever. We're going for a walk? Even better. Oh, we're going to step outside in the yard and take a piddle? I love piddling in the yard. They're just good little dudes. Every single one of them. And I'm so sorry for your loss there, Belgian whale. Just, big hugs. And be grateful for that time you got to spend with them, because it's always just way too short. It is way too short. And Chris Taylor says, Belgian whale, sorry to hear about your loss. That's a tough one. Hang in there. Indeed. Ronald Rose, happy birthday, Houston. I got a question with all the corruption, dirty politics, and protected shadow family banks. How do you think the illegal trades in the market will be resolved? How will this be untangled? I think the only way we have a chance of it resolving is probably the collapse of everything. That seems to be it, because if things collapse, they lose the tools they've been using to manipulate, which is their credit. If they don't have the credit to manipulate things, the credit disappears, the manipulation stops. It's like, remember when a whole bunch, like sanctions went on Russia after the invasion, right? They put the sanctions on Russia. They blocked them off from the ISDA and the World Banking and all that. They just cut them off financially. And so all of a sudden there was no more money going out to troll farms. And for a brief moment, trolls on the internet and these bot farms just vanished. You didn't see them for like a couple of days until they figure out workarounds and, using crypto to pay this stuff. But they just vanished. And so if you are able to cut off their money at some point, whether it's from, a law, or if it's from the fact that you vaporize all of the U.S. Treasury bonds, or all the blue chip stocks just, zerped. What are you doing there, monkey? What you doing, buddy? Then all of a sudden you cut off their ability to mess around, to play around. And that's, to me, that's probably the big thing. Right, dude? Yeah. Monkey says so. Okay. Ron Rose, some answers besides World War III. Well, World War III also will probably trigger that as well. First Day Productions. Wife lost her job. Ah, shit. My company has been doing furlough for many months now. What's holding up BBBY? Are all the cases wrapped up yet? No, there's still an FTC case against Ryan Cohen, and there is the 16B against HBC, and there's still part of that 16B against Ryan Cohen from the estate, although it doesn't appear they can get any monetary gains from that case. So my guess is it will probably be dismissed or settled. So there are a couple of cases still, but it does appear as though Class 6 is starting to get paid off. They're starting to pay out Class 6 unsecured creditors, which bondholders are in that. It appears there's more money in the estate than what is owed to creditors, so that should at the very least result in a waterfall for shareholders. And I guess we'll just see when that starts coming through. But man, sorry for your wife, sorry for your business. That's probably gonna be happening to all of us here at some point. We might not even have the normal fallbacks a lot of folks have, which is like retraining. You go back to school, you learn something new, because they seem pretty determined to vaporize our education system as well. So, yeah, just destroy everything all at once. It's everything everywhere all at once turns to shit. The shitification of everything. First Day Productions, what effect does closing above 2750 have on GME options for next week? Let's take a look, shall we? There's my GameStop. Let's do that. Refresh that sucker. let's go back to the 9th and let's see what we got. Boom, 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 boom. Click there, click on that. There we go. Okay, so going about 27, we were below 27. So we added about 1.9 million shares just by going above 27 today, or 27.5. So that's a couple million shares. Let's see your total in the money. So that's 1.9, 2.4, 2.8, 9, 10. So that's 3 million. It's a little over 3 million shares in total went in the money. That's good. It would have been nice if we got above 28. That would have added another million shares. But it's okay. It's not bad. It's a good little bump. I'm not sure what max pain was. Let's see here. GME max pain. Boop, boop, boop. What was max pain today? Max pain today was 26.5. So we didn't finish above max pain. So we put about a million shares, 1.8 million shares above max pain. Cool drool. So that might be good. And if we get some good news, if we get a Roaring Kitty update or something, that'd be lovely. Those look like a lot of people were spending money on 28s because there were 9,800 in total, and we had 22,000 volume. So a lot of people were day trading these suckers because the prices probably went through the roof at one point. So, okay. Tadalus. Happy birthday, H. I missed science talk, so here's one. What is the big difference between UKID and JWST? I don't know. JWST is big infrared. I don't know much about the UKID. So UKID is the European Space Agency telescope. And it's a wide-angle space telescope designed to explore the dark side of the universe by studying dark matter and dark energy. Okay. So this is a wide-field camera, wide-field telescope used to look deep, and look for dark matter, dark energy. Okay. So it wants to probably look at early development of everything. It is near-infrared. It does visible light as well. So it does visible light and near infrared. JWST, James Webb Space Telescope, only does infrared. It only has infrared camera. So it's not going to see anything in visible light. So every image you see from it is a false color image, meaning they take visible wavelengths of color and they assign it to infrared wavelengths so we can interpret the data that way. But, yeah. First images from them. Let's see here. So it's the first full color images coming out of this. This looks like what, M51? Oh, IC1342. Yeah, Spiral Galaxy. That's also known as M51. So here's a little slideshow of their first images. That's cool. A globular cluster. This is not deep space stuff, though, that they were kind of talking about. These are pretty near objects. Globular cluster. This is pretty deep space. This is a deep field view. These are all galaxies. Basically, if you see little spikes, little spikies around an image, or around a spot in an image, that's a star. So we have, and if it doesn't have big old bleeds across the CCDs, then those are galaxies. So this is basically all galaxies. There's a star here, star there, one there, one down here. There's one there. There's one there, one there. For the most part, this is like 90% galaxies in this image. That's cool. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what science they're using to look for dark matter or dark energy. I still don't think dark matter exists. I don't think it exists. I think it's explained by many other. We've gone through this before, but James Webb Space Telescope is gigantic compared to Euclid. And so it can gather more light farther away and get higher resolution images. But this sucker is, it's probably got a pretty badass camera on it. These look pretty darn clear. So yeah, there you go. That's my hand wavy response to that. $100K. Where does one make a travel show if the U.S. tariffs the crap out of foreign productions? Does one just say, I guess I'm not selling my show to the USA? Yeah, I'll do a travel show. We're going to the Caribbean today. Oh, shit. Now I got to pay an extra 100% on that? It's bullcrap. It absolutely minimizes the creativity we can pursue, the things we accomplish. Like, can you imagine Star Wars if Star Wars could not have been filmed all over the world? Tatooine is Tunisia, is Sahara Desert. Yes, we have deserts here in the US, but let's be honest, if you want things to feel like an alien world, the Sahara has way more alien-looking landscapes than any desert in the United States. Deserts in the United States, that's if you want to film a cowboy western. If you want to make like something that feels, especially to a Western eye, like a foreign world, you go see some of the weird-ass sandstone things that happen in the Sahara. You want to make a planet look like it's a weird little, temperate to ice world, you go to Iceland. We don't have landscapes like that in the United States. It feels alien. It's just like, it just seems like an unnecessary hindrance on creative pursuits. I totally get that the productions are about money and they're going to go where it's cheap to make things. But also productions are about trying to establish a world in the audience's mind. And you can always tell the difference in those production values. I watched a movie this week on Netflix, Havoc. It's got good cast, excellent choreography. It's the dude who did the Raid movies, Gareth Evans. But you can see that a lot of it wasn't filmed anywhere, that it was like Real Engine 5, that the car chases were Real Engine, that a lot of it was sort of just rendered on a computer because the budget wasn't there to actually do a car chase and blow up some cars. And you felt that. You truly, like, watching, you're like, it feels like a video game. So I do get that there are constraints, financial constraints, that can make movies sort of not get the hit you wanted, or TV shows. But why don't we just try supporting the arts? Try that for once. You want arts? You want the United States to remain sort of like the central hub for pop culture in the world? Support it. Don't cut the NEA. Don't punish people for going to where they can afford to make something, because eventually they'll just keep making them over there and then you'll lose it all. We'll be left with some like really crappy cheap productions here in the US for stuff. And then we'll just, we'll be like weird telenovelas, and that'll be about it. President production. Oh wait, that's the one. I did that one. Okay. At 9, weird hype post on Super Stonks makes me think we're in for a dip. Shit has to be getting bot upvoted. Also, my birthday. I mean, I got booted from Super Stonks, so I don't get to really pay attention. I don't really pay attention there anymore. Apparently, do not call Platinum Sparkles a shill, because you'll get kicked out of Super Stonk. WeWild HW, a treat for Monkey and a membership for me, please. I mean, if everyone's throwing out memberships, by all means, maybe WeWild will get one. Oh, did that perk you up? Does that make you happy, little tripod? All right, put that guy right there. We will boogity boogity, right? Come on, close, you stinker. Oh, you want one of these? You gotta come up and get your little nose in the camera. There we go, your little nose in the camera. Yes. Oh, nom nom nom. Okay, prepare your ears. Shelly Schleif's test post to see whose account I'm using. Happy weekend, all. So seeing who's logged in. That's it. They have a shared computer. Boris Raspy, thoughts on MOAS? Eventually things have to get corrected. Yeah. Eventually. I mean, we just... A lot of this... Which is why I keep trying to do an options run when things get hot. So maybe I can get my retirement out of the way, not to touch any of my shares. But we'll see. First Day Productions, what have you heard about the second Umama that's orbiting Earth? I have not heard about a second extra solar object. Second extra solar object orbiting Earth. Well, there was one in 2019, 2L Borisov, which 2019 came from out of the solar system. Interstellar object. Mau back in solar system is not alone from 4 weeks ago. Space intruder just entered the solar system a month ago. I don't see anything except for some YouTube videos talking about space aliens. Nope, I haven't heard anything. There's nothing orbiting Earth that I've heard of. Borisov was 2019. It was hyperbolic. It passed by the solar system and took off. If you got a link, send it to me. I would love to see it. Clue me up, Scotty. Canada holds all your TP reserves. This is also true. Shelly ships, no domestic ramen I know of. Well, you'll be paying 100% on that, so you're paying 80-something cents. Yeah. Oh, it looks like we have someone called Hostile Takeover jumping in here. Says they doesn't regret his vote, and the Biden administration was an absolute joke. Democratic Party detonated itself. Cool. You're going to be jobless and homeless and foodless and stuffless. So, woo! Good job. Darren, what do you think about the graphene versus sodium-ion batteries? Both stable, both don't catch on fire, both have quick charging times, both don't need heating or cooling systems. As long as we get batteries that are modern and don't need lithium anymore, solid. I'm okay with it. Because lithium batteries are unstable. They need heating and cooling to keep from exploding and burning people's houses down. And they don't charge fast enough. We need, if you want these electric cars to take over, you need to have a higher energy density and you need to have quicker charging. You know, the idea is that with a graphene battery, ideally, with the same amount of weight that's inside of like a battery in a Tesla or a modern electric car, you got the battery system and you have this like heating and cooling and fire suppression system and all these things that take up a lot of weight. You don't need any of those systems anymore. So you can put now twice the battery inside these things. And they hold up to 12 times the charge, and you can charge them theoretically full in 2 to 5 minutes. So imagine your current electric car gets 300 miles to a charge. Now imagine you're getting 3,000 to 6,000 miles per charge, and you can charge the whole thing up in 2 to 5 minutes. So let's say I get into my fancy electric car, and I'm like, I'm going to drive to New York. I never have to stop. Basically, I'll stop to eat food or to sleep, but I'm not stopping to fuel up because I could go to New York, turn around, and come back theoretically before I have to charge in one of those things. Sign me up. You know, there will be charge stations because there'll be times people, you know, at the end of their 3,000 to 6,000 miles, like, oh, I'll charge up. But for the most part, the stopping is going to be at hotels, motels, campgrounds, and places to eat. And those service stations, if you are a service station, well, it's probably going to focus on getting the neighbors to come in and buy some ho-hos and a Slurpee or something. But Yeah, I'm okay with any battery tech that allows us to get off lithium. So cool. J-Dog, Voyager 1 still out there exploring, sending data from interstellar space. It is. And it's also showing us that interstellar space is way more dense than we figured. That there's all sorts of weird, like, waves of matter that pass through. It's cool stuff. Fred Jones gifting some memberships. We did not get one. But Jiga Shukla got one. Daniel Holcomb got one. Catzilla, Steel Horse Nomad, and Tomzok. So we got at least one lurker in there, right? Yeah. So, good job. Are you still holding shares of GME? Yes, I'm still holding shares of GME. Silly person. Major Gains Super Chats. I just learned we have more evidence for the existence of Jesus Christ than Alexander the Great. I have not learned that. Namely because I've never seen a single piece of physical evidence that Jesus ever existed. There are books of the Apocrypha that were supposedly written by people who knew Jesus at the time of Jesus being alive. But the Councils of Nicaea, the Councils of Trent, others said those were not the Word of God and did not include them in the Bible. But there's no documentation from the time. All the books of the Bible were written 70 to 200 years after his life. A lot of the stories of him were taken from other messianic figures throughout the Mediterranean and then attributed to him. Like, you read up on Justin the Martyr. Justin the Martyr was an early theologian who, upon taking criticism from peoples all over the Mediterranean and Middle East, who were like, what makes you think Jesus existed? You know, the story about him is actually a story about Romulus and Remus, and the story about him is actually a story about Bacchus, and this story is actually about Dionysus, and this story, you know, from godlike messianic figures from thousands of years earlier. And Justin the Martyr wrote a treatise that basically is like, the devil planted those stories there to sow doubt. And that's been the entire excuse for the church from that point forward. We have you know, writings from Plato and Aristotle that are attributed to, you know, their tutelage of Alexander the Great. We have, you know, records in you know, written into stone of his existence from that time and his conquests, and the evidence of the battles his armies fought throughout the Middle East all the way up into the Indus. So, yeah, I'm not quite sure I trust that there's more evidence of the existence of Jesus than Alexander the Great. I think it's the other way around, personally. But if you got stuff, send it to me. I'll read it. Well, Hostile Takeover got a lot of... I really riled them up, didn't I? And then Julio's making fun of him. All right, Turkish. Happy birthday. Where's the money and BBY, Wojtowski? I did see a thing, was it this morning, last night, where somebody finally got a hold of AST, who was the transfer agent for BBBY. I'm like, hey, man, where are my shares? And AST answered, oh, we took all the shares and we gave them back to the company. So your shares in the ledger are back with the estate. So apparently, we're still there. We're still in it. Still in it to win it. Where the money is, slowly being divvied out to Class 6. And keep twiddling your thumbs, are Turkish. Hazel A, hi. The Proud Boys and Oathkeepers met at Mar-a-Lago. Do you think they may be the goons dressed in ICE uniforms disappearing people? I think it's a good chance. I think ICE is the modern Gestapo, and Proud Boys and Oathkeepers are the modern brown shirts. And those folks, they're going hand in hand on this one. I mean, if an entire law enforcement agency can only go around covering up their faces, leaving their eyes exposed, for a bunch of dudes who bitched and moaned about having to wear masks during a pandemic, they sure seem totally fine with wearing masks now to hide their identities from the people who they are terrorizing. So it just seems a little sketchy on my part. Keenan, hey Houston. Thoughts on GME T35's settlement due next week? That's the word. The T35s are coming in, and that there's going to be some rejiggering from swaps that are expiring this month. So, in that case, I mean, I bought a few options for next week just to see what happens. I probably should have bought them earlier in the day before there was the price spike, but I bought them at the end of the day, so I didn't get to enjoy that price spike. But we'll see where it goes on Monday. I would love to see, a Sunday night big old boom like we did this time last year, but we don't have the purchases in the options chain yet to suggest that Roaring Kitty has bought in a whole bunch yet. So, yeah. I made your gain super chat. I just DM'd you on X. Cool. I will check it out. Dead Guy Monitor just went out again. Come on, Dead Guy Monitor. Julius, Blockbuster up almost 3,000% today. Only one other time it was above 5 cents, and that was January 2021. Interesting. Blockbuster's up. And Blockbuster's on the expert market, so only the expert dudes can close that sucker out. Blockbuster stock price. So it's at 0.02 cents? Oh, wow. Okay, so it went from 0.0019, all the way up to 1 penny, and then fired right back down again. Man, I wish the expert market wasn't a thing. I would love to just dump piles of money into these things, watch it 10x, and then get back in again, 10x, get back in again. Stupid expert market bullshit. Interesting. That's 5 days. Looks like it's been doing this kind of bounce for a little while here. Biggest bounce is up to 2 cents on the 7th. That's his biggest bop in the last 6 months for sure. Biggest bop in the last year. Biggest bop. Oh, sorry. No, it's been 2 cents a couple of times in the last year. That was back in October, did it. And the biggest of the biggest bops was January 2021. It reached 8 cents. Interesting. Very interesting, Julio. Very interesting. Okay. That was Turkish. That was Hazel A. That was Keenan. Ched, New York, Miller, a Jewish white nationalist. Make it make sense. Looks like he's trying to disappoint more than just his parents. Oh, his parents are disappointed. His uncle's disappointed. His siblings are disappointed. His community's disappointed. His teachers, his principal. Anyone who's ever met that boy is disappointed in him. But, it's not unprecedented. I mean, there was the Verband National Deutschen Juden, and those were the Jews for Hitler. They were like, yeah, and their whole idea behind their thing was like, hey, this guy wants to kill us. If we support him, maybe he won't kill us. And then they helped get him elected, and then he killed them. So it doesn't work. If you're going to read your history and to figure out that placating these people does not work, that he's going to kill you anyway, so you may as well put up a fight on your way down. So, Miller's uncle wrote an article for like Salon or Politico, can't remember who it was, during the first administration, just basically being like, he's a disappointment to all of us. His grandparents escaped Nazi Germany, and now he's embracing the ideals of Nazi Germany. And I don't know how to fix that. Is it that he's so naturally contrarian, and this is some sort of psychological thing that forces him to be so contrarian that he will basically advocate for his own people's demise? Or does he think that if he advocates for their demise, it doesn't make him one of them? Because believe me, when these white nationalists get down to it, they do a purity test in the end. And if you aren't pure enough, off with your heads. So, Taylor says TikTok feels like you're cheating on us. Hey man, if I need to go do a living overseas because Trump's Gestapo's after me for talking shit about him for so long, I will need all the income streams I get after this. Marcelo Giordano, Houston, Thoughts on when Cohen Wells Fargo ruling will drop? Feels like whatever's going to happen with BBY is just waiting on that. Not a clue. When was the last filing in that case? Because it all had to do with him self-filing and be like, hey, I did this thing. I had to do it before there's any merger acquisition. And then the FTC and SEC were like, right, case. And he's like, I agree to pay this. And they're like, cool, case. And I don't know. I have a feeling that the courts are super backed up right now, and that they get to it when they get to it. I keep seeing things from folks like one of the guys one of the judges who's dealing with the I think the HBC case is the same judge who's been dealing with a lot of the immigration cases. And these people are like, this guy's a woke liberal, blah! And they're like, they keep writing the court, being like, why are you taking so much time to make this ruling? Dude, he's got bigger fish to fry at the moment. Judges get to it when they get to it, and do not write a federal judge. We talked about this in the past. Do not write the judge. Do not contact the judge. Do not do anything with the judge. The judge will fuck your shit up if they want to. Don't do it. Let the courts do their thing, take their time. You want to do stuff, you make a filing and you file it in court. Don't email the judge, don't call the judge, don't call their clerk. File. Ask yourself to become part of this case, and then you can get some answers. Until then, shut the hell up. Leave the judge alone. Because if you piss them off enough, they will destroy you out of pure annoyance, because they have the power to do that. So just chill out. The judge gets to it when the judge gets to it. They're currently dealing probably with 200 cases each. All of them sitting on months and months and months and months of deliberation, research, writing opinions, etc. Their clerks are busy. They're busy. Just chill out, man. 64. Lost my dog of almost 19 years. It has been hard, but I'm very proud for giving him such a long life. I gave him my all. I know he lived happy and was loved. I can still hear him tippy-tapping around. Isn't that true, buddy? You get you're full of your little pig ears, right? Yeah. Give him the good life. Give him the best life you possibly can, because they're giving you everything they have to be just a happy little dudes to hang out with you. I do not understand the folks who just don't like animals. Oh, dogs. Ugh. Well, I feel that way about you as a human. But Joel, I held 7,000 Sears shares through True Giro on the German exchange. A year or 3 ago, they stopped trading there, and they told me to sell them just a couple of days before. I tried to transfer, but time was short, and they got stuck in limbo. Yesterday, after 3 years, I suddenly got a message that my shares were down more than 10% on the day, even though they don't trade there anymore. Strange. They're still in the expert market. Hopefully your shares are still in your account, and that's why you got that notification, because it does appear as though there is some sort of concept for reemergence for Sears. It is the longest bankruptcy in American history. They've surpassed it by several months for the previous longest bankruptcy. They're at 7 years, somewhere around there. So, man, Eddie Lampert's sure taking a sweet time. Hurry up, dude. I mean, I've been sitting on my Sears shares for 4 years now, 5 years. And here we sit, waiting like everything else. It's all a waiting game. Hostile Takeover, really disappointed by the mods in this live, voiced an opinion, and was timed out. I mean, it's kind of a shit opinion, but whatever. Brendan Wells, I think Boeing might have scared the shit out of Trump, and that's why we have the Rolls-Royce deal. Oh yeah, because Rolls-Royce makes engines for like half of the Boeing planes, right? Yeah, and it doesn't seem like Boeing really cares about human life. So, yeah. What's going on? No Labs? I mean, I haven't really heard anything. Apparently, their non-invasive pH monitor has like 100% rate measuring pH of liquids, which is fantastic for the medical field. And it probably gives them a quick route to get a product to market. So it'd be nice to see them have some sales in there. I'm not sure what type of, if they need medical device licensing for that also. But I don't even know how they'll get medical device licensing at this point, because Doge fired all the people who, do that. So I know you're very pro-Trump in there, and you sound like you are a no labs investor. So just know that Trump fired the people who would make your investment money by licensing it, because there's no one who can do any of the testing or the licensing of those medical devices in the government. Zero. So there's a direct consequence of your vote that you voted basically to destroy your own investment on that one. And then they're fighting in here. J-Dog, Hubble looking at black hole roaming, eating a star. That was a pretty cool image. Let's pull that one up. Hubble catches black hole eating star. Yeah, images. Where are you? No, don't give me a render. Show. All right, give me the article. Here we go. This is it. There we go. All right, so Hubble saw this elliptical galaxy here. So elliptical galaxies are mostly free of gas and dust. So you don't see many objects falling into the black holes because there's no dust clouds surrounding the black holes. Because the idea is the early universe, when these particular galaxies were forming, their black holes got gigantic and produced so much radiation, they sort of just, with solar winds alone, blew away all the gas and dust out of these galaxies and left their interstellar medium completely devoid of gas and dust. So if a black hole is there, you can measure it via gravitational interactions. You can see some stars orbiting if you can get in that close. This is a pretty far away galaxy. Or if they happen to eat something. And since they're not eating gas and dust, this sucker happens to be eating a star. And that star went into like superfusion and became basically as bright as the rest of the galaxy. So this is where the black hole is right there. That this little guy. That's the star being eaten by the black hole, going essentially supernova of sorts, as a huge percentage of its mass gets turned into fusion. That's neat. That is a neat picture. If you're an astronomer, everyone else like it's a fuzz with a dot. Yes, it's a fuzz with a dot, but it's a fuzz with a dot with a cool dot, in my opinion. So neat. Space. Do not ask me for things. Ron Rose just need a small squeeze holding enough shares so it won't feel so doom and gloom. Patience is tough. Patience is super tough. Yeah. It's too long, in my opinion. It's way too long. We entered World War II, whooped ass on 3 fronts, and won in less time is taken for GameStop to pull the trigger, right? The Civil War was over by this point. Most people have their college degrees in this amount of time, are now experts in their fields. A child goes from basically pudding to a human being that can manipulate objects and form thoughts of their own in this amount of time. The Pentagon, the largest office building in the world, went from concept to construction to completion in 16 months. And yet here we are, twiddling thumbs to nubs, waiting for these things to happen. We've got people who have died holding. They're like, that's going to happen someday, and then they die. We have people who need surgery, need medical care, whose family are in trouble, who might be losing their houses. These investors, they're not worth $4 billion. They can't sit around and wait all day. And so if you care about your investors, do something. Pull that trigger, man. That's all I'm waiting for. Just make it pop. You can make it pop last year. You can make it pop probably the year before. Just make it pop. And House Takeover, great question on No Labs. What's happening with technology? As far as I know, they're still testing, and their plan and hope was to file sometime this year for approval but they now have no one to file with, so I don't know what's going to happen with it at this point. J-Dog says Idiocracy is now reality. When do we get to experience Starship Troopers? I think one problem with the way our Idiocracy is going is that we truly are ejecting the smart people from our society. The scientists and engineers are looking for work overseas. We've got Japan, Europe, Canada, China, all trying now to recruit the scientists and mathematicians and engineers out of our country to go work over there. So I'm not sure how we get, without having the scientists to build the technology in Starship Troopers. I'm not sure how we do that. I think we'll be closer to Idiocracy than we will be to being able to fight battles off-world. Yeah. Jika Shukla, a popular opinion, I have lost all faith in RC. I wouldn't say I've lost faith in him. I would say I'm more disappointed with his inability to hustle. Like, come on, hustle. Like, show some get up and go, some giddy up. It seems to be really, really, really slow. And, the big investments he makes sometimes seem sort of half-baked and abandoned quickly. So, creating the big NFT thing, creating the wallet, and all of a sudden be like, the wallet doesn't exist anymore, and we're not going to do NFTs anymore. Is that because these were just betas you're testing out for a bigger launch, or because you truly are just like, nope, over, we're abandoning this entirely? I don't know. But every single time we get this little glimpse, like, oh, baby, it's about to happen. It's just this dilution or a pullback or something happens that just sort of, rips our heart out of our chest and stomps it on the ground. And that's frustrating. It's, spent a lot of time on this. We put a lot of faith into this dude to turn these things around and to get us where we need to be. And the turning around part has not translated to the price action that we crave or demand on our stock. And, if you bought this stock in May of 2021, you're technically underwater right now. Because the stock price was like 140 in May of 2021, which comes out to, what, $35 a share? So, yeah, you're underwater at this point. Yeah. G-Dog, would you like to know more? Major gains using Greek manuscripts. Send them my way. First impressions. How and when does new technology overtake old technology? Oil companies buying new tech, murdering inventors, etc. Well, there is the old adage of stopping innovation from happening because it will eat into your market share. And then there's the folks who don't do that, and they get either overtaken or they fail to hold on to that tech or embrace it. So like Kodak invented really good CCDs to do digital photography back in the 70s. And Kodak's like, whoa, man, our bread and butter is film and paper. And the guy who invented it's like, but like, you don't need film and paper if you have this. I'm like, yeah, exactly. So they tried to squash it. But turns out if you have other companies with billions of dollars, they will come out on the market with it. And Kodak, poof. Like, what does Kodak make these days? I don't know, man. I just don't know. So, it can still bite you in the ass. It appears like, do you remember that movie, the documentary, Who Killed the Electric Car? It seemed very much like GM was under pressure to not come out with an electric car. They had that EV1 that they leased to certain people, and then when they got them back, they destroyed them all. And we're sort of like, we're going to put that thing under the rug. But then Toyota comes out with hybrid systems, with the Prius and the Insight with Honda. And all of a sudden people are like, oh, battery tech is pretty cool. It can help us save a lot of fuel. That's sort of like a baby introduction to developing better battery technology, which then led to electric cars. And now GM makes electric cars. They make hybrid vehicles. They do all of that stuff they did before because they went, oh crap, we can't bury this thing. It's coming. So now it will come down to, will the lithium people try to squash all the battery tech? Because believe me, there is billions of dollars being invested into mining lithium. And if these solid state batteries and the sodium ion batteries come out, you aren't going to need lithium anymore, which means the entire lithium industry is toast, which means thousands of jobs, billions of dollars investment, entire nations may lose out on big dollars as a result. So there may be, some sort of push, be like, let's get rid of the good tech. We're just gonna make everything stay on lithium, right? I'll be curious to see what happens, because all it takes is one big player to be like, no, solid state. And because it's such a beautiful and superior technology to lithium ion, it will take over, and you're not going to survive anyway. You can try and force yourself to survive on that lithium, but if solid state takes off and people are able to go thousands of miles on a charge and able to charge in a couple of minutes, they're not going to buy lithium if it's an option. Like, imagine charging your phone once, using it 10 hours a day, and you don't have to charge it again for 2 weeks. That's the promise of solid state. So, like, why wouldn't you have that? Why not? I don't know. Oh crap! I gotta get going. I'm way past my time. Much just been ICE arrested, mayor of Newark. America, you'd be crazy. Yeah, they had all sorts of weird excuses for that. We'll touch on that Monday. So, all right, everybody, I gotta get going. You guys have a great day, and be well to yourselves, and high fives, and big hugs, and maybe by Monday I'll have approval to stream on the older TikTok thingy. I gotta watch my language on the TikTok thingy, because apparently they're pretty draconian with that. But, all right, bye.